Hello and welcome back. Today I want to talk a little bit about hunting and share a hunting video. Um, Unlike other hunting videos out there, this one isn't was this hunt profitable, but rather should hunting these mobs be profitable. So let's talk about what makes a hunt profitable. Um, by my estimations, there's three things that can make you profitable in a hunt. The first one is luck. This one I'm just going to ignore completely. If you get lucky, congratulations. I usually don't. The second one are rare item drops. These are extremely rare drops that are worth very large sums of ped. You've got to hunt thousands and thousands and thousands of these mobs to get these drops. It's too hard for me to measure. The mobs that I need to hunt, I don't have the skills, ped, or time to do them. So the last thing, and the one that I'm going to be focusing on, is high markup common loot. When I say common, it's not shrapnel common, but it is loot that you would expect to get in a hunt. Multiple loot instances of getting this loot. It has decent markup and hopefully can make up for your losses. So first, what do you need to make up for your losses? So here we have the TT returns. The assumption is that over a long period of time, you will have less TT return than what you spend. And so at 95% TT returns overall, which is a number that's thrown out there that is theoretically possible over a very long span. At that rate, you would need an overall markup for all of your loot of just over 105%. At 90% TT returns, you need just over 111%, and at 85% TT returns, you would need about 117.5%. And this is overall loot markup. So this is the markup from all of your loot combined. So this first hunt is going to be Vixens. This is one that I hear is often touted as a profitable mob. So I decided to put it to the test. And what everyone is searching for from these Vixens are these android gears that have extremely high markup. And so here we go. In this hunt, I killed 1,500 Vixens, which I know is not enough to get an accurate representation of overall TT returns, but I do believe that it's enough to get an accurate representation of loot distribution. So I guess before we get into that, I try to maximize the android gears that I would get, and by my estimations, this is something that needs to be tested, but that would be done by getting the most loot instances, the most kills for the least amount of ped. It is my theory and my belief that getting your loot distribution, or your loot distribution, the times that you get loot other than shrapnel is largely based off of how many loot instances you get, which is how many kills you get. And so if you can kill more things cheaply, then it will give you a higher percentage of not shrapnel versus shrapnel. Again, something to be tested, but that's the assumption we're working under. So here we go. In order to do that, this is the gun that I'm using. This is the TT gun, tray terminal gun here on Entropia, along with the beginner ZX Syncatus that you get from the starter pack. This gives a decent efficiency, and what I did is specifically hunt just the 10 HP Vixens There might be a few that snuck in there of the 50 HP Vixens, but the vast majority of these kills are 10 HP Vixens. So here is the loot distribution. And I guess so first is the loot returns. I, in this 1500 Vixen hunt, got 84% TT returns, which is not good. But again, at 1500, that's not enough to get an accurate representation of overall TT returns. But the loot distribution, here we go. So obviously the largest percentage is shrapnel, followed by animal oil residue, animal muscle oil. But if we go down the list, the one that we're really interested in are these Vixen Android gears. By far, these have the most markup. And so we got about 3.5% of our total loot was Vixen Android gears. So let's go ahead and calculate the amount of TT returns that are made up for in the markup of the items that we looted. So in order to do that, what we do is we take the percentage of the loot that was the loot in the distribution, and we multiply that by the markup for that loot, and then we subtract out that percentage, that starting percentage. So what it looks like is this. We'll go ahead and we'll estimate, or we'll round some of these values. So we're going to say that 60% of our returns were shrapnel, 10% animal oil residue, 10% animal muscle oil, 3.5% Vixen Android gears, and then the rest of it we're combining all into a category called nanocubes. In these nanocubes, of course, we can turn everything into nanocubes. They're easy to sell. Some of these other things, while they have markup, they are extremely difficult to sell. If you have to go through the auction house, you lose most of that markup on fees. So we'll just say they're nanocubes. So here, at 60% shrapnel, 101% is the markup we get on shrapnel. Not that we sell it for 101%, but we turn it back into ammo to shoot, and we get a rate of 101%. So 60% shrapnel, 101% gives us 60.6%. We subtract out that initial 60 to get an overall added markup of 0.6%. The animal oil residue, we can't turn that into nanocubes, and I haven't ever been able to sell it, so we'll just mark that as an even, so we get no added markup there. Animal muscle oil, 102% is what we're doing for that one, which is a little generous, but it's a small percentage. So at 10%, that gives us an added markup of 0.2%. And then the big one are the Vixen Android gears. At 380% markup, our 3.5% of Vixen Android gears gives us an added markup of 9.8%. And then the rest of it into nanocubes at 101% gives us 0.165%. So that gives us a total added markup of 10.765%, which puts us right around the theoretical 90% TT break-even point. So with this loot distribution, if we were to get 90.28% TT returns, then we would be break even exactly. Anything over that, we are making a profit, and anything under that, we're losing. So at 84% returns that we got in this hunt, we definitely lost. But should this mob be profitable? The answer is yes. With these numbers, unless they were somehow drastically high for the loot distribution, this mob should be profitable. Up until about 90% TT returns, which, while I don't always get those, obviously, I do think over the long run that is theoretically possible and probably to be expected. So I'll be trying this out with a few other mobs. If there are any mobs that you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments. If you disagree with the methodology here, please share that as well. I'd love to hear your take on which mobs should be profitable and how to best find those. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you all later.